there, folks, and welcome back to another Friday Night Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. As we mentioned last week, we were at the halfway mark. Now we're just one step further for our smaller schools, and lucky for them, they're still playing, which means our game of the week is between two 3A schools here in Pinal County, and that is American Leadership Academy Ironwood traveling to San Tan Foothills. Now, both of these teams are kind of in similar situations this year around. They are a much better team than they were a couple years ago. So this is going to be a more interesting game this time around. David, what are you expecting in this matchup?
Well, yeah, first of all, I'm really excited for this game. These were two teams that I kind of, highlighted as people or teams that could actually, just be improved from their last couple seasons. And especially in Ironwood's case, in my eyes, they've been battling all year. And they've had to face some stiff competition. Of their 3 losses, they're 1-3 right now, and of those 3 losses, they've lost 2 of those games by just 2 points, and then 1 of those games by 7 points. So they're not getting blown out. They're in games consistently having chances to win. So that's an improvement of itself. So the record may not influence you to think that they're improving, but they are. They're a really good, solid squad. One guy that I think needs to improve a little bit, though, is Connor Malt at quarterback. He struggled a little bit here. He's got 4 touchdown passes, but also 3 interceptions. So the passing game may be a little bit off sometimes, but for them, I think they really need to start relying on the running game more. And with that, Aiden Williams is the clear-cut guy for them in the halfback position. He makes this team go right now so far. He's got 491 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns on the year, so he is definitely someone that they want to keep feeding the ball to in hopes of, keeping themselves in games like this. So this one's going to be interesting to see who can really pull it out. And on Foothill's side, kind of like Ironwood, their rushing attack is what makes them famous. Their rushing attack has been really solid this year. They have 17 touchdowns on the year, and of those 17 touchdowns, 11 of them have been rushing touchdowns. So this team is very solid. They have a lot of guys that they can go to in the rushing game. It's not just one person. They like to spread it out a little bit. So I like both these teams, what they bring. I'm covering this game, so unfortunately I don't get a pick, but I'm honestly kind of glad because I don't know who I would pick because I really like these teams and I still think they're on the rise here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens Friday night. It's going to be a good one down in San Tan Foothills.
All right, so for me, 2 key guys we got to look at here on both teams are 2 guys that play both sides of the ball really well. For ALA Ironwood is Travis Mabuya. He is one of Connor Malt's go-to guys as a receiver. So far, 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, he leads the team in tackles with 48. He has 1 interception and 1 fumble recovery. On Foothills' side, it's Elijah Fields, who pretty similarly does a lot of the same stuff that Mabuya does. Fields has 123 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Defensively, 36 tackles. 7.5 of those are for a loss, and 2 of them are sacks. Also defensively, looking at Foothills, Bo Cotherman. He is pretty much the soul for this SaberCats team. He's their leader. He's the guy who amps up everybody. He's the one who everybody turns to, and I'm expecting a big game from him here. Like David mentioned, this is a really difficult game to kind of pinpoint which team has the upper hand because they're just very similar in a lot of different areas, and as we mentioned, they're improving this year. They've come a long way, and we'll have to wait and see Friday nights to see who comes out on top in this one. David, what's your what to watch?
My game to watch, I'm giving a shout out to the Santa Cruz boys down in Eloy. They're going up against Chandler Prep this year or this game, and both these teams are 2-2. Santa Cruz got their last 2 wins in the last 2 weeks, and they're doing pretty solid right now. And I think they're sort of getting back on track in what they want to do. Like, this team is still very young and relying on a lot of sophomore talent, but this team is definitely finding their footing and getting able to, figuring out what they want to do, especially under new head coach, Thomas Cortez. So the 2 guys to look out for are going to be, again, Nathan Harris at quarterback and Jonathan Ramos at running back. 2 young guys who are, they're hungry. They want to be able to win and lead their team to victory. And, the running attack has always been something that made Santa Cruz famous. So Jonathan Ramos joins a pretty elite class of running backs that have come out of Santa Cruz, and I think he's starting to hold up his own with that title. He's had a little bit of troubles of securing the ball. He's had some fumbles here and there, but I think he's definitely, for his size, he is an absolute, a huge talent for them, and a guy that they're going to build around throughout the rest of his time at Santa Cruz. So expect him to be huge against Chandler Prep, and Chandler Prep is going to be a challenge. They're a dangerous team still, but just because their record is 2-2 doesn't mean that they're less dangerous. Nolan Jones has been really great at quarterback, and they have a solid passing game mixed with a good running game, which is going to become a huge headache for Santa Cruz to be able to track down on defense. So, those guys play a lot of two ways. So they are on the offensive side just as they are on the defensive side. So the defensive side is going to have to be very stout here to make sure that they want to keep a win. And I like the momentum they have right now, 2 wins in 2 weeks, and I think it could be 3 in 3 weeks. So I'm going to go with Santa Cruz right now, and I hope they don't disappoint me because I'm really looking forward to seeing them perform well this year.
All right, and my what to watch, continuing on this whole theme of improvement, is Maricopa. Although the Rams are still looking for that first elusive win of the season, they're a lot better from when they started out. They got blown out by CG Union in the season opener, didn't score anything, but since then, they scored against Mesquite, they got a touchdown, and then last week they scored 15 points on Mesa Skyline. This week they are traveling up to, where is it? Peoria, Sunrise Mountain, and it's going to be difficult for them, but they're headed in the right direction. Since sophomore quarterback Robert Noor took over, he has 190 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And defensively, these Rams are very impressive. So far as a team, they have 15 sacks. 3 of those are to their leading tackler in Ian Palms. And then Aiden De La Garza, 4 sacks for 29 yards. As I mentioned, I think Sunrise Mountain will still have the upper hand here, but still, Maricopa is up and coming. And, while they do have some senior talent, these younger guys are just getting a lot of experience right now, which is eventually going to help them out in the long run. David, is there anything else you want to add?
Well, like you said, this is kind of an improvement theme of this episode. We have a lot of teams that are improving, but also we have a lot of teams that are doing, solid, putting in solid performances every week. Casa Grande is undefeated right now. Florence is undefeated right now. So we have a huge plethora of talent going on in football in Pinal County. So it's really exciting to see, and I hope that we can continue to see some more performances that are going to be up and a lot of good teams that could be competing down in the playoffs time. So it's going to be a good one.
All right, real quickly, as always, here are our picks for this week. It was a bit of a rough week for us, both of us, last week, so hopefully we can improve this time around. As always, be sure to check out PinalCentral.com over the weekend to see how our football teams do, and be sure to tune in next week.